What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Joshua Wren again. Thank you very much for joining me. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. It's good to see I've got people coming back. As always, quickly shout out to Joe Rogan. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for people like him. I'm sure he's inspired a lot of people. In fact, I know he has. His channel's got everything on it. He's the best in the game. And apart from that, he's a really nice guy. I've met him a few times. Never in a personal setting, just at UFC events and stuff, but he's a super cool guy. He treats everyone exactly the same. And anyway, go and check his channel out, please. The Joe Rogan Experience. It's the best there is. Going back to yesterday, I made a little mistake. My Twitter handle isn't Joshua Wren, just Joshua Wren. It's Joshua Wren Cast. That's JOSHUAWREN Cast. Please go and follow that. Share the link and all that good stuff. Going back to yesterday, I spoke about my surgeon having his YouTube channel. I'm going to tweet the link out to that if anyone's interested. I am a sick fuck, as you've probably noticed, but I find it really interesting, and I can't help but think there's other people out there that would as well. So I'll tweet the link out to that. Also, the documentary I was speaking about, Metalhead Banger's Journey, I watched it again last night. It's on YouTube, so I'll tweet the link out to that on my channel. It's really, really good. As I watched it again, there was loads of stuff I'd forgotten. It looks at rock music as a whole from a cultural perspective as well as just an anthropological perspective. It's really, really good. It goes into massive amounts of detail. Anyway, I digress again. So today's been really good. It's been lots of surgery prep, as you might imagine. Getting my books together for my hospital stay. I've got Randy Bly's autobiography, Lamb of God singer. A few of you'll know that he was imprisoned for manslaughter charges, wrongful manslaughter charges, and his book largely reflects upon that. Really good, I hope. Again, super nice guy. I've briefly met him once at a festival. So from what I've read, it's pretty good. I can recommend checking it out, but I'll review it fully when I'm finished. So yeah, going to hospital about 11:30 tomorrow morning. The schedule isn't set until the day of, so I won't know when I'm getting operated on. I just know I've got to be at hospital by 11:30. Don't like not eating. I'm sure most people don't really like not eating, but hey ho. And the biggest thing I'm worried about is the fact I've got to be awake for the surgery tomorrow. I've never been awake for surgery. I've had a few, but I've always had general anaesthetic. But apparently, because it's bone surgery and it's quite a severe surgery, they've got to cut my femur up and then screw it back together. The amount of painkillers it would take after the event to numb me up and give me the appropriate pain relief would make me quite sick. So instead, they've got to give me an epidural. So I'm completely numb for, I think it said about 8 to 10 hours from the waist down. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm a fan of finding things out firsthand, and obviously I won't be able to see and ask questions and stuff, but it's one of those experiences I think I'm going to look back on and tick the box. Yeah, I've done that. I've been awake for surgery. I was speaking to my surgeon about it before, and he said if I wanted to, I could stay awake for one of the other ones. It's elective. I could have an epidural if I wanted to. So I think for the fourth one, I'll be staying awake as well. So yeah, I am a sick fuck, but I've got to imagine there's other people out there like me. There's a quick story about another hero of mine, Matt Hoffman, who had an experimental, I think it was an ACL procedure, some ligament or some tendon procedure. And at the time, it was completely unsanctioned. It wasn't allowed in the US. And please forgive me, I can't remember all the ins and outs of the details, but in order to get it sanctioned, they had to prove that it was doable without anesthetic. So Matt Hoffman agreed to do this ACL procedure completely painkiller free, completely free of anesthetic. And that mentality is really interesting to me. Anyway, I digress. I'm looking forward to having it tomorrow. There was a thing on one of the videos I was watching of my surgeon doing the procedure I'm having, and the saw they use to go through your bone isn't a saw as you and I would know it. It's not a hand saw, it's not a circular saw. It looks like a steel ruler with a tiny little reciprocating blade on the end of it. So you push it in, it'll chip, I guess. It'll just gnaws its way through the bone. And he says you've got to push all the way through to cleanly cut through the bone, but because you can't go through the other end, you'll start cutting into the flesh behind it. You've got to take the measurement you have for the bone and push it that far in. And I think the measurement they took was the bone for the particular person getting operated on was 55 millimeters wide. So he said, I'll put my thumb on the 55 millimeter point and push the ruler in until my thumb hits the bone. And I don't know why I expected any different. It doesn't seem unprecise. It's definitely precise. And obviously they choose where to cut. There's no specific measurements where to cut. So it's no different in that regard as, you know, they've still got to put a knife in you and they've still got to cut bits of you up. But I don't know why. I just thought it would be a little bit different. I didn't think they would be, I'll put my thumb on this bit and then I'll push it until my thumb hits your bone. But, you know, what do I know about osteosurgery? I'm just a mathematician. I say just a mathematician. There's a massive crossover between mathematics and medicine. And in fact, I'd like to go and eventually do my PhD in medical physics. I never got formal A levels, although there is a lot of physics and applied mathematics, as you'd imagine. I never got my formal physics qualifications. That's something I'm trying to do now. I'm doing my A level in physics, and then I'd eventually like to do a second degree. I'd like to do my degree in physics. And then, well, depending on which way to go, I'd do a degree in physics or a master's in mathematics, but with a physics element. I'm sure I'm boring everybody, but it sounds really quite pretentious, but I really like the thought of being able to do something that makes a difference. It's not about money for me whatsoever. I earn decent money and I love my job, but I'd much, much rather do something for £30,000 a year, making a big difference, than £100,000 a year sitting in someone's back office churning out reports. And although reports do have their place in everything, that's not the be all and end all. I believe I'm good enough to make a difference, and I'm making strides to do that. I'm nothing if not ambitious. And my passion for maths started at a very, very early age. I wasn't satisfied with knowing that something happened. I didn't care if A went to B. I wanted to know why A went to B and what happened to it on the way, and what relationships were, and the speed and the acceleration and the vectors and everything. I wasn't satisfied with knowing that the Earth went around the sun. I wanted to know why it did and how fast it went and in what shape, and would it eventually change. I am one of the earliest memories I've got is asking my father what trigonometry is. Sounds daft, but it's true. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I used to sit and watch documentaries on TV during the day, and it sounds quite odd, but I've always been fascinated by the relationships and things. And some of the people out there who do scientific disciplines, be it physics, chemistry, engineering, mathematics, they'll tell you they see the world in different ways to maybe someone who's artistic. I've got very, very artistic friends. One of my friends is an award-winning tattoo artist. I won't give her a plug just yet. Don't want her head to get too big. But she doesn't see the things I see. And I've got friends in the same circle who are physicists, and they see things the same way I do, and they want to know why things happen. One of my friends, Stephen, very, very similar to me, he's just got a portrait of Stephen Hawking tattooed on him. It won an award at a tattoo convention. And it's strange, you know, because people often think, they ask why, that's their first question. Well, why Stephen Hawking? And they can't get past his disability or whatever. And his passion for why it's overwhelming. The passion he's got for it is ridiculously, it's magnificent, to put it in that term. He's right in what he says. He says that Stephen Hawking is the Einstein of our time. He's the Isaac Newton of our time, and it's right. Very rarely do you get these minds coming along, and we're living through one right now. And I love that. I love the thought of things like that. I've got people tattooed on me from my canon, so to speak. I've got a portrait of Isaac Newton tattooed on my thigh. As a mathematician, I've always been in awe of Isaac Newton. He came up with the laws of motion, and he did it without computers, without electricity. He just thought of it and worked it out. And I've always been fascinated by that. And I've got a portrait of Charles Darwin tattooed on me as well. Again, if you read The Origin of Species, same thing. It was only 100 and so years ago, but it reads like no one knew what the hell evolution was. The whole book is a treatise. It's a conviction document of please accept what I'm saying. No one believed it. He's like, if you believe in reason and logic, why wouldn't you believe in this? Why would you think it doesn't go this way? A slight aside to that, actually, there's an evolutionary theory that obviously we descend from apes. If you believe in evolution, that is, I don't want to offend anyone. If you believe in evolution, we descended from apes. And there was a discrepancy, not a discrepancy as such, there was a jump up in our brain size. They can tell the brain size based upon the cavity of the skull. There's never any loose room around the brain. It doesn't rattle around your skull. Your cavity, your cranial cavity is roughly the size of your brain. And there was this big jump in the size of the human brain, or the ape brain, that led to us using tools and things like that. And the theory goes that apes lived in trees and they stayed in trees, but at one time they came down, and one of the indigenous plants to the areas where they've traced that kind of growth back to was magic mushrooms, for lack of a better word. Psilocybin, I think, is the scientific term. And if you look at the research on psilocybin, all it does is open up neuron pathways that already exist in your brain. Your brain is far more active. It doesn't turn anything off. It doesn't screw anything up. All it does is makes more neurons fire, as far as the research goes. If I can find it, I'll tweet the link out to that study as well. And the theory goes that apes came down from the trees, ate magic mushrooms, and their consciousness completely blew up. It expanded, and they started thinking of things a different way. And the same can be true of certain illnesses. It's pretty widely accepted now that a lot of these people a lot of the geniuses were autistic or had some other advanced learning disabilities. Not learning disabilities, sorry, but other disabilities, as we'd call them, but that led to them being more focused or more drawn in. I'm not saying that's the right way to be, or that the analytical brain is the only way to live, because I do envy a lot of my artistic friends, be it musical or even spiritual people. I envy quite a lot, but I wouldn't change the way I am for anything in the world. Along with autism comes some emotional issues and some behavioral issues. Depression's quite synonymous with autistic traits, but I wouldn't change any of that for the world. The way I see it in my head is, for lack of a better term, it's magical. I get to see the inner workings of things, and I get to work with that, and the fact that I understand them, it's beautiful to me. I love figuring something out and finding a relationship in things. On a lighter note, as opposed to me just completely kissing my own arse, one of the things that we found out during our degree was things like the Tesco Club card. It's all to just collect data. It's to find relationships in things. It's called analytics, trying to find relationships in data that may not seem obvious at first. And the club card, just essentially, it's there. It gives you a little bit of incentive, so you feel like you're getting a lot, but it's to collect data on your shopping habits. And they found a relationship in, I believe it was Walmart in America, that it was a Friday evening between X time and X time. It was males between 18 and 30. And they found out that X percent, some high percentage, I'll try and find the link again and tweet out, some high percentage of those who bought nappies, diapers, also bought beer. So when they put beer and nappies together, they managed to increase their sales in both of those things massively. Yeah, that's just a silly little story. On another note, to bring it back away from me kissing my own ass again, I'm really excited. I managed to line up a few more gigs after my surgery. I did have to cancel a bunch, which I'm gutted with. I cancelled Deftones in London. I didn't cancel the whole gig. Everyone else being there doesn't rely on me being there. I cancelled my participation in the gig. Lamb of God as well. They're my favourite band. I'm a massive Lamb of God fan. I'm not able to go and see that. But nicely, we work with a bunch of international people where I work. We have a kind of a rotating door system where we have contact centres in India. So every 6 months we'll bring a bunch of them over, and it'll just, a bunch of the guys will come over who work over there, and they'll just, they'll integrate with us for a bit. It's a nice change of scenery. We send people over there as well. And one of the guys who came over, Sundaji, sweet guy, really nice guy, and a fault of mine, I just didn't really assume that a guy being from India would be a heavy metal fan. But we were hanging out in the hotel one evening, and he asked me what I was listening to, and I said it's Lamb of God. He's like, oh, I love them. I was like, all right, that's cool. I thought he was just being pleasant. And then he was like, no, really? And then he showed me his phone, and he had every album they've had, and he started singing along. I was like, oh, fuck, dude, fine. Just please take my ticket, have a good time, and report back. So that totally saved it as far as I was concerned. If I didn't get to go, fine, I'll see them again. I've got other gigs lined up for when I get back after my surgery. But the fact I was able to give someone who never, ever would have got to see them, really, I don't think. I don't know off the top of my head if Lamb of God have ever been to Pune in India. But to give someone that opportunity, it made it worth me not going in the first place. One of the gigs I've got when I come back is Parkway Drive. It's in February. If no one's ever seen them, please take the opportunity and go and see them. They were by far the best band at Download this year, I guess. They were right down the bill on the Friday, but they blew everyone out of the water. Better than Slipknot. I hate to say it, better than Lamb of God. Better than Muse. Just better than everyone. Yeah, if you get the chance to go and see Parkway Drive, they're playing up and down the country. I think it's 6 or 7, 8 shows. Really good. That's it for today. Thank you very, very much, everyone. I'm not sure when the next one will be. Hopefully it'll be in the next couple of days. I'm not sure what state I'll be in following my surgery. I'll be full of opiates, I'd imagine, at some point. That might be interesting to do a podcast full of medical heroin, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much, everyone, guys. Follow me on Twitter. I'd love to speak to you in the meantime. Take it easy. Bye.